101.7 KSAM and the Hornet Nation Broadcast Network. It's time for the Hornet Nation Coaches Show with Huntsville coach Rodney Southern. Live from True Texas Barbecue inside HEB. Tonight, Coach Southern talks about last week's game and what to expect from this week's opponent. Now, let's go live to the coach and your host, Rob Hipp.
All right, Huntsville, Texas, how's everybody doing tonight? Good to see y'all. We got a nice crowd here tonight. Want to thank and welcome everybody for coming out for another edition of the Hornet Nation Coaches Show. I'm Rob Hipp, as always, with Brian Adams and Coach Southern as we dig into it. Before we get started, a big thank you to Vivi tonight here at True Texas Barbecue. Thank you.
Absolutely.
I just had a turkey sandwich a while ago, Brian, and they say that tryptophan that's in the turkey will put you to sleep, but I have the opposite effect, so I'm wide awake now. So, again, want to welcome everybody. As we go through our segments here, our first segment, we always look back. In this first segment, defeating Lake Creek 40-28 on the road this past Thursday. Let's give it up for the Hornets, getting that district win.
Yeah, green and white.
That win broke a 4-game skid, now 1-3 in district play. Coach, we'll dig right into it. A much-needed victory, of course, this past Thursday. Lake Creek had those 2 early touchdowns, led 14-0, but the Hornets rallied 23 unanswered in the first half to take a 23-14 halftime lead. Just your thoughts on this game, Coach?
Well, I think the first thing, we hadn't played in a week, so I think the speed of the game kind of got us in the first quarter, especially the first play from scrimmage. But I think once we settled down at that point and made some plays defensively, and then, of course, A.J. made a couple plays with his legs and a couple plays throwing the ball, and then probably the key right before the half, the safety that got us up 23-14, I think at that point kind of changed the momentum of the whole game.
You know, at one point we were trailing there 14-0, but then there was something that just kind of flipped. What did you tell the guys, kind of what was going through their minds, and tell us a little bit more about that?
Well, big thing, we talked about that Friday morning, that, I think we had kind of lost our edge a little bit in terms of confidence. Not necessarily being overconfident, but just having the ability to be confident in what you do. And we also talked about, some of our guys, I felt like when we walk on the field, they were the better athlete Friday night or Thursday night, and I said, you got to go play that way. And a lot of times when you get into a losing situation like we had been, confidence and how you carry yourself, even though some people don't understand, that has a lot to do with winning. It has a lot to do with success, and I think once we got that confidence back, obviously we played really well. And finished the right way. Everybody got a little action Thursday night, even late into the game, and it builds confidence. And we got 2 more that were guaranteed, and we got to go take care of both of them.
Coach, it was exciting for Rob and I, to call the ball game, and we saw immediately the Hornets get down 14-0, and then, as Rob was just saying, it seemed like just something happened, and the Hornets just kind of looked at themselves and just said, you know what? Let's just play our Hornet football. And when they did that, they came out like gangbusters, like the Hornets we know.
Well, and I think, again, that's confidence. And I think it's confidence and almost, a simplicity, for probably lack of a better word. This is not a real hard game. A lot of times as coaches and probably as players at times, I think we make it harder than it is. It's still blocking and tackling. And making plays. And I thought we made plays at every level defensively. We made plays offensively, and we made, of course, 2 big plays in the special teams, which, shifted the momentum, especially in the third quarter. And then you just got to relax and play.
That's what it looked like. It looked like they just finally relaxed and went out there. Every one of them just said, you know what, I'm going to do my part. I'm going to do it the best of my ability. And when they did that, they were making these big plays, and just, man, it was so much fun to watch. And it was, again, kind of like the Hornets that we're expecting to see week in and week out. So what, after that ball game, what's your final thoughts on that?
Well, I told them after the game, I said, that's 1 down. We got 2 more, and we've got to figure out each week now what we've got to do in order to stay in the win column, and told them to enjoy it. That's tried to be my focus this whole year, because you don't know how many of these you have. Injuries are a part of the game. We all know that. Or if something happened, then I don't get another opportunity to do this in high school. So You got to take advantage of ever how many of those opportunities you have, and being able to relax. Expectations coming into this year, and I'll put a lot of it on us as coaches and on the players that, everybody expected us to win every game we played again this year, and I expected us to do that as well. But, when those things don't happen, you got to figure out, how do I respond to that? And I thought the other night, even after getting down 14-0, excuse me, I thought we responded the way a good football team should.
The Hornets had a solid rushing night. A.J. Wilson, almost 100 yards. Jalen McClain had a great night rushing. Just talk a little bit about that and just the health. I think this may have been one of the most healthy games when you have all of your guys out there and just having everybody kind of running at almost 100% now for the first time this season.
Well, we were able to take some of the guys, the young guys that we had up, and we had them up because of injuries. And some of those guys, especially freshmen, it's extremely difficult for a freshman to play at the varsity level, at any level, 5A, 4A, whatever, you name it. The speed of the game and the physical part of the game it's very, very difficult. In this past week, we were able to move most of those guys down to JV. We've got all 7 of them now playing on the JV, and obviously the JV played really well Wednesday night. It also was the first time probably that Jalen, I would have said going into Thursday night, that Jalen was 100%. He was as fast as he had been, and he looked really good in practice today. Matthew Long still had a little bit of a limp, but he's got a 3/4-inch screw in his foot. So, but overall, we have been, probably that night was as healthy as we have been since August 27th.
Coach, these guys working through a lot of adversity this season. Of course, last year with COVID, it was tough as well. But now through 8 weeks and entering in week 9, I guess you could call it, what have you been most proud of this team so far this season?
Well, probably the resiliency of being able to battle through, when you lose a game, and some of these guys have not lost 4 games in their career up to this year. So, when you lose a game and you get physically beat, that's one thing. When you lose a game and it's calls and it's a mistake here or a mistake there, those kind of stick with you. Or when you line up against E. King, who was, and every guy we got and every coach will admit, they were physically better than us this year. And you have to be able to handle that as a player and a coach and still be able to come back and play, because it could have been very easy the other night down 14 to just say, hey, that's it. And I think that's probably been the biggest thing, is the fact that they've handled some expectations, even though we haven't met them all, but they've handled them pretty well.
All right, Coach. Well, that'll wrap up our first segment as we look back again, taking care of business versus Lake Creek, getting that first win in district play. 2 games remaining on the schedule. We'll talk about one of those games, of course, coming up here in the second segment as we look ahead. Stay with us, friends. Live from True Texas Barbecue inside HEB, this is the Hornet Nation Coaches Show.
Get a great deal on Kubota utility tractors. Our powerful, versatile lineup is built to do it all. So whether you need to mow, rake, stack, lift, or pull, get it done right with a Kubota utility tractor. Right now, get a Kubota utility tractor for 0 down and 0% APR for 60 months, plus save up to $3,000. Now through June 30th. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com for full disclaimer.
Stop into Huntsville Truck and Tractor today, conveniently located at 2124 Highway 30 East in Huntsville, or call us at 936-291-8103.
Some say it's where Sam Houston surprised Santa Ana, or where Spindletop blew its top. But we like to think the luckiest spot in Texas is just outside of Livingston at Noscala Gaming. After all, Noscala's where thousands of Texans win thousands and more every day. Plus, there are amazing giveaways, always a warm welcome, and of course, big-time Texas-sized payouts. For a whole new spin on fun, our money's on Noscala Gaming in Livingston, the luckiest spot in Texas.
All right, friends, welcome back live from True Texas Barbecue for the Hornet Nation Coaches Show. If you haven't been here before this season, will you raise your hand real quick? We've got a lot of new faces here. If you haven't been here before this season, raise your hand. Thank y'all for being here tonight. Appreciate all of our guests for being here. Mr. Billy Cothran is here with his son, and Billy it works over at Sam Houston Memorial Funeral Home, and they are one of the big reasons, alongside First financial bank that we're able to bring this video stream. So again, Billy, thank you and all that you guys do as well. Here in the second segment, we look ahead. The Hornets back at home. It is the final game of the regular season at Bowers, hosting undefeated Montgomery. The Bears, they're 8-0 overall, 4-0 in district play. Last season, Montgomery we go back last year, the Bears' lone loss in district was to Huntsville 25-13. They played Lamar Consolidated last Friday, victorious in that game 41-24. Coach, just kind of always lead with the same question. How's preparation been heading into this game?
Well, I thought overall it's been really good. You know, the weather was good. Obviously today, once the storm kind of blew through, we had a real quick workout this afternoon. We had a really good workout yesterday morning. And, you know, at this time of year, you ought to be able to define clearly what you're trying to do in practice. And a lot of the reps now become mental reps as much as they are physical reps.
You know, Coach, playing Montgomery this coming week, I mean, an undefeated team. What do you tell your team this week in preparation for that ball game?
Well, big thing, we told them Friday after the game or Thursday night after the game and Friday morning as well that, you know, these are the kind of games a year ago this whole thing was reversed and, you know, they came in and gave us a battle a year ago and, you know, we had to play a tough third quarter, into the third and early fourth quarter to be able to keep a 12-point lead. So, you know, you don't have anything to lose in this situation. They're right now because they've beaten A&M already, they're in line to win the district regardless of what happens in our game. So, you know, you just got to go play, and we're going to do some things and put some things out there to make them have to be on their game in order to beat us. But at the same time, you know, we've got to play tough because they're a good football team, probably the best coached football team that we will have played to this point. They don't make a lot of mistakes. But when they do make a mistake, we've got to be able to take advantage of it.
Kind of talking a little bit more about that, Coach, some players or positions to keep an eye on the Montgomery side of the ball.
Well, the two guys that obviously stick out, their running back, number one, is he's leading the district in rushing. He was actually picked by one of the magazines or something to be, you know, the top back right now in 5A Division II. He's a solid running back. He's bigger than he was a year ago. I think he's probably speed-wise about the same, but he looks like he's gained at least 10 or 15 pounds. He is solid. The quarterback, of course, is Coach Bolfing's son. It's the third son he's had play quarterback for him, and you know, and having the opportunity 2 years ago to be able to have your son play quarterback, he's, you know, you think that gives you an advantage, obviously, because especially with him being an offensive guy, you know, you're with your quarterback all the time. So, and his son's played really well. He hasn't turned the ball over a lot. They rely heavy on their run game, which they should, because their best football player is their running back. So those two guys, now they've got receivers and they've got other things, but those two guys are clearly probably the best two football players on their team.
That kind of leads into the next question that I had. Of course, you coached, and Matthew Southern was your son, and he played. Just from a coach's perspective, how special is that? But I also know on the field, there's no difference. It's when you get on that field, it's like, this is a football game. You're not my son. You're a football player now. Tell us a little bit about that relationship.
It is a little bit different, you know, and I'm sure John probably, you know, having had two sons previous play for him, I'm sure and they all played quarterback. So I'm sure he's a little bit different than I was probably, because I tried to stay, you know, once we left the field house and left practice or left a game, you know, it was not we didn't discuss a lot of football, because, you know, I had to try to separate being dad and being the guy who's chewing on his butt on the sideline or whatever. Sometimes I think I chewed on him just so people would see me chew on him more than the other things. But it's obviously special, and obviously when you're playing as well as they're playing, or you're winning and having an opportunity to continue to take advantage of those days, because you don't know how many of those days you're going to get.
Coach, with Montgomery being undefeated, 8-0, and of course 4-0 in district, when you're a first-place team and you're playing a team who's basically fighting to get into the playoffs, and they have everything to lose, and the team coming in is, in this particular case, the Hornets, how does the coach at Montgomery what is his mindset trying to play chess with you as the head coach of the other team?
Well, I hope he does exactly how he has been in terms of, what they're going to try to do. To me, if you're him, you don't get fancy. Your running game and your running back has been your bell cow, and you ride that as long as you can. You do some things that you feel like you can take advantage of by how we align defensively or how we align offensively. I don't think you go in and say we got to make a bunch of wholesale changes, because obviously what they've been doing has been successful. I think you're coaching in his situation, you're coaching more against yourself than you are against us, because technically they're in already. Now, they obviously probably want to win the district championship, but at the same time, I don't think you change your philosophy a whole lot. I think they've got to protect against some things that we can potentially do to them, especially offensively. But I think that's also, for him, the pressure should be on them a whole lot more than it is on us, because we can go kind of let everything hang out, let's go and see what happens.
Well, on that same topic, so how was practice this week with that in mind, and how's the overall health of the team?
Well, health-wise, we're probably, like I said last week, going into there, once I saw Jalen run, I thought, okay, he's 100%. I saw him today on a couple plays in a team period. He looks 100%, and he was the only one. Matthew's going to continue to have a little bit of a limp on that foot just because it's such a severe injury and a surgery. But other than that, everybody else is 100%, and we're good to go. And we've had a good week of prep. We got to have a good one in the morning and be ready to go.
Coach, just briefly, I know that we look at each game each week. I don't like to jump ahead too much, but there is a lot of folks kind of wondering playoff scenarios and those things. We won't dig into every scenario because there's always a lot of different things. But you and I were talking a little bit, and, of course, it's really going to come down to the Hornets playing well, trying to get some victories. And then, of course, Lamar Consolidated, that's kind of a big throw-up. Can you kind of explain a little bit more to that with us?
Yeah, there's 2 or 3 scenarios that are still out there. And obviously for us, winning games is going to be the number one thing. But the situation because of who we have left and who Lamar has left and who Fulsher has left, because A&M Consolidated this coming week is actually their last game, because their open week is week 11 or week 10 of the season. So there's 2 or 3 scenarios that we can be in. There's a couple scenarios that if they happen, then we're out. But the key for us is we've got 2 left, and the best situation obviously is to win both of them. And then the other stuff is stuff that we can't control, who Fulsher beats or when they beat them, or who Lamar Consolidated, how they play next week is, it's out of our control. So we've just got to take care of our business. But there are a couple scenarios. The biggest thing is we don't want to be tied with Lamar Consolidated, because they would have the tiebreaker against us.
Well, just sitting right now, Montgomery at 4-0, A&M Consolidated 4-1, Rudders at 3-1, and then Fulsher, Huntsville, Lamar Consolidated all at 1-3, Lake Creek at 1-4. Coach, as always, appreciate your time. And one way, hey, we need fans to come out on Friday. We need anybody that's hearing this message, come out, get the tickets. You can go to hornetnation.org, find out more information, get your tickets. Come out to Bowers and let's support these Huntsville Hornets on the final home game of the regular season. Will you do that for us, friends? Come out and support them this weekend, this Friday.
Have some fun.
Coach, we appreciate you, and we'll step aside. We'll take a break. We have interviews with our player guests coming up. Don't go anywhere, friends. We will continue the Hornet Nation Coaches Show live right here from True Texas Barbecue.
Why are people driving from all over Texas to Wiesner Hyundai to get a real deal? And during Wiesner's Rocktober sales event, save even more. 2022 inventory arriving weekly. Elantras, Sonatas, Santa Fe's, Tucson's, and more. Get a real deal. Buy for less at Wiesner Hyundai, where customer service is job one. Exit 87B, Wilson Road in Conroe, or WiesnerHyundai.com.
Check out America's best warranty, 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty, and the Hyundai Assurance Program today.
In store or online, we deliver.
The legendary Jolly Fox is back with live Texas Red Dirt music. Friday, October 29th, K-Sam welcomes Jason Boland and the Stragglers.
I might go crazy, and I might go to Mexico.
Jason Boland and the Stragglers live on stage at the Jolly Fox in Huntsville. Get tickets online at jollyfox73.com, Cavender's Boot City, or at the Jolly Fox for just $20. Friday, October 29th with 101.7 K-Sam.
All right, friends, back at it from True Texas Barbecue. How's everybody enjoying the food tonight? All right.
Man, what a crowd.
Another good whistle out there. Thank everybody for coming out. I have a nice crowd here tonight. And thank you, as always, every week, and you'll hear it on the sports reports in the mornings on KSAM, and just encouraging folks to come out and support our kids. And so we sincerely appreciate that. But we are now joined by a young man that's been a lot of fun chatting with you off camera. So now we're going to have we're going to have fun chatting with you on camera. Let's give it up real quick for our senior defensive lineman, Mr. Zakee Fedayeen. Welcome, man. What's up, Zakee? How you doing, man?
What's up, man? I'm doing swell.
What have you been up to? What have you been up to today? Let's just start with that. How'd your day start? What'd you do today, man?
Wake up.
How many woke up today? Raise your hand if you woke up. All right, well, that's a good start.
It's kind of late, but it's because I had little bubble guts, so I had to get that out the way before I start practice.
All right.
Hey, we have that problem too sometimes.
No, wait, you said you were late. Did Coach hear that? Okay, Coach didn't hear that. All right, well, we know about that, man. I'm just kidding.
Don't tell him.
Zakee, man, look, you're a senior this year. Last year, battling some injuries, but a senior this year. I just wanted to ask you, what have you enjoyed most about your high school career? You grew up, you've been in Huntsville forever, man. What have you enjoyed most through high school, though, young man?
To be honest, the people, the friends and everybody's so funny. Pretty much everybody get along with each other. So really the memories I made, that's the best thing I say.
And what about the memories and the friendships? Talk a little bit about your teammates, man, and just how much those guys have meant to you throughout your career.
Teammates, you say. Well, it happens to be one right there. Yep, Troy. I'm talking about you.
Mr. Troy's in the house. Good to see you, man.
Yeah, that guy right there. We battle every day. I'm very competitive, so any game, I tell him before the game, if you don't have more sacks than me, you're going to hear it every day. I'm going to come up to him every day and remind him, hey, I got more sacks than you.
Nice.
Let me ask you this. We were talking about before we went on to the show, the size and some of the guys you go up against, and maybe they may be a little bit bigger than you or whatever. How do you overcome that? Because Rob and I have been calling your name out on the radio all year long with outstanding play, so you're doing it right. What are you doing to beat the big guys?
Well, since I'm small, I always had to use speed and technique. And if I don't have neither one of those, I cannot do anything. It's very difficult to be a small D lineman.
Is that some of the stuff you learned in the offseason in preparation for your senior year?
Yes.
What you needed to do to make your game better?
Yes.
Good. Well, I mean, that's what you're supposed to do.
Right.
So, that's important. When you're outsized, you got to take what you have and use it to your advantage. And as we said, I mean, use that speed, because speed is, you can't teach speed. And, we're proud of you, man. You've had a heck of a season so far. Keep it up.
Thank you.
Sometimes Coach Adams comes out here at the show.
Sorry, man.
It's just Coach Adams every once in a while.
Does.
But he played, man. Brian grew up here. Zakee, last week, great win, man. Talk a little bit about that game. You guys were down 14-0 early, but you came back. Tell us a little bit just about the resiliency in that game.
Well, I was upset. I was very upset when I seen 14-0 on the board. Man, that hit the heart. And I thought to myself, I said, I can't lose no more games. I can't. I never had 4-0 or 0-4 a day in my life. Can't make it 5. So we had to do what we had to do, go out there, finish the ball game.
Do you feel like that game, may have been one of the biggest games where you guys have really all came, I know throughout the season, your teammates, but do you feel in that situation, what you just said, we've heard that echoed from so many other players, do you kind of feel like that was a game where all of you guys were in agreement, like, we've got to get this in order?
Yes. Especially of us seniors, we really want to make it to the playoffs and win state. We've been talking about it since we was very, very little in the HYFL. and just trying to make it.
Well, it was amazing to watch and to certainly call the game when you got 14 down. Again, as we were talking to Coach Southern, it just like you guys came together and said, you know what, hey, man, we're down 14, so what? Let's go out and play Hornet football. And when you did that, you guys were outstanding. You came back and smoked them really good, and y'all relaxed. Is that kind of how you felt during the game?
Very relaxed.
Yeah.
Well, never mind. I wasn't relaxed. I didn't get off the field. I was tired.
Yeah.
Very tired. They told me before the game I wasn't getting out. Pain.
Yeah. Well, who are some of your role models as you look as you've grown up as a Hornet through the system, looking out? Who's some of the role models, whether it's a former Hornet or anybody? Who do you look up to?
Well, I have two of them, Rodney Southern and my sister. The reason why I say Rodney Southern because he never puts out an excuse, or how can I say this? He always got the right answers, and he's very assertive with his actions. So I look up to that. I like that.
Good. And your sister?
My sister, well, she's always been there for me. Anything I did, she always supported me. If anything I needed something, she always gave me the above and beyond, gave me all. But yeah, she was really my biggest support system. So love her very dearly. Oh yeah, shout out to my sister Wawa and Mama T, Mama Love.
Yeah, and Coach heard that over there, Zakee, because earlier you were talking about being late today, so he knew that you were doing that, to say that. So that's good, man. That's what you got to do. So that's a good man right there, Zakee. We're talking to Zakee Fedayeen. Zakee, what does it mean to you to be a Huntsville Hornet, man?
To be a Huntsville Hornet, really, it means to be an underdog and being able to show everybody else that you're not the underdog. When everybody's doubting you or thinking you can't do something, you show you can do above and beyond. You ain't got nothing stopping you. So.
I love it. That's a good analogy, as a Huntsville Hornet. What are some of your hobbies outside of football?
Hobbies, I like to draw, like to watch sports. I love listening to music.
When you draw, what is it you like to draw? Is it landscapes, architect, buildings?
Everything.
Everything.
Anything and everything, but especially faces.
Faces?
Real good like that.
Awesome, man. You'll have to share some of that with us sometime. Yeah. I'd like to see that. That'd be cool, man. So, Zakee, enjoyed chatting with you. Future plans. You're a senior this year. Where do you want to be, man? What have you thought about after high school here?
Well, I have two ideas, either a robotic engineer or a real estate agent.
Awesome. Let's give it up for that. I like hearing that, man.
Me too.
That's some good stuff, Zakee. Final shout out. I know you already did it, so you'll get to do another shout out, I guess. But camera's right there on you.
Final shout out.
And that popping green shirt, man. It's visible. Everybody sees it. Who do you want to send some shout outs to tonight in Huntsville?
How many people are watching?
Yeah, there's 200. Well, there was 210,000, and we're up to 413,000 now. Zakee on the stream. 413,000 people. Who do you want to say hi to tonight, man?
Shout out to my brother Osei and all my siblings. Shout out to my nephews and nieces. Shout out to my classmates, my teammates. Shout out to everybody in Huntsville. And shout out to Sheila, my dog, at the crib.
All right, let's give it up. Zakee Fedayeen, appreciate you, man. Been a lot of fun, and we're so proud of you guys. Continue to rock and roll. We'll step aside. We'll take a break. We got one more player interview coming up. Stay with us live from True Texas Barbecue. This is the Hornet Nation Coaches Show.
Come on out on Saturday, October 30th from 8 until 3 for the inaugural Second Baptist Church Fall Festival and Classic Car and Truck Show. This year, they're going to raffle off a 1970 Chevy El Camino and giving it away at the end of the day. So hurry and stop on by the church office this week to get your tickets before they're all gone. There will be a fall festival for the kids and jump houses, snow cones, games, and so much more. Come on down to Second Baptist to see some really cool cars and great fun for the kids. Located at the corner of Sam Houston Avenue and Montgomery Road. For more information, call the office at 936-295-6404. Hope to see you there.
DQ presents. Picture this. Picture yourself at DQ on Thursday, October 28th for Miracle Treat Day. You roll up to order a Blizzard with your friends and family like you have so many times before. But on this day, every flavor comes with a much-needed dose of hope. For every Blizzard you buy at participating locations, $1 or more will be donated to your local Children's Miracle Network hospital. making Miracle Treat Day the most satisfying way to give hope to kids in your community. Thursday, October 28th at DQ.
All right, friends, we are back at it live from True Texas Barbecue. Everybody doing good tonight? Thank y'all for being here. And we're now joined by a young man. I've gotten to know Ethan a little bit here over this season especially. And number one, he's an entrepreneur. Well, I don't want to say number one because there's a lot of things that this young man does great as the rest of the players. But he's an entrepreneur, but he's also the senior offensive lineman. Give it up for Mr. Ethan Casas. Welcome, Ethan.
Thank you.
Good to have you. You know, when Ethan walked over here, I said, I think Ethan's been waiting all season, to be on the show. Is that right, man?
Something like that.
Yeah. Well, Ethan, I mentioned earlier about an entrepreneur. We're going to talk a little bit about football and schooling and all that, man. But I'm going to give you an opportunity to talk a little bit about your business. You've got an incredible story for a young man. You're highly motivated. Tell us a little bit about what you do, outside of school and football, man.
So I have a mobile car wash and detailing company. You can search it up on Facebook, Big E's Mobile Car Wash and Detailer. I pretty much go to somebody's house, detail their vehicle. I offer wax, ceramic, deep cleaning, shampoo, et cetera. But it's 21 reviews on Facebook, all 5 stars, something slight.
Well, he's done really well. Let's give it up for that.
That's
I think
awesome,
that just your drive, man, and
that's really good.
And your balance. And I told you, man, remember I told you school first. School's the most important thing, but you're doing a great job outside of school and just, being that entrepreneur guy, and I think that's going to be great. So, Ethan, a senior on the team this year, talk a little bit about your role and just the leadership that you have now.
Since there's only 2 seniors left on the O-line. Jose left last year, so it's really up to me and Trey on the O-line to motivate these other guys. Since last year they were sophomores, we just got to instill competition to compete. That's what Southern says a lot. We got to compete, and just keep it going hard. We don't take no breaks. You got to practice every beat. If you can't go 100%, give 100% of 80%. You know what I mean?
Mm.
You know what, you guys on the O-line, my son played on the O-line several years ago, and you guys are, without a doubt, the toughest guys on the team. And without you, you can't have a football game because you can't have an offense. You can't have, quarterback can't run his plays. Running back can't get through holes. So you guys have the toughest job, and you battle, play in and play out against the other guys right across your face mask. And my hat's off to you, man, because you've done a really good job. What are some of the things you did in the offseason to prepare you for this year? Weight room, running. What did you do to prepare for this year?
During the summer was a lot of weights and a lot of running and a lot of heat. We did practices. First we had weights, then we had conditioning, and then we had practice. That's how it really got us. Southern knows how to get us going. Make sure we're tired, and then he throws in the practice. But it was just a lot of weights, a lot of
preparation.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Ethan, down to the final 2 games of the regular season, where do you feel you can improve in these final 2 games?
I feel like the hardest thing for us is what we really need to improve on is just working together and clicking, because we got a lot of talent on the team. We just got to be able to put it all together. Show everybody what we can really do and what we really are, why we are Hornets, And
kind of feeding off that statement, you talked about just clicking and coming together. Last week, it just seemed like everything started firing after those first 2 touchdowns from the opposing team. Tell us a little bit more about that, maybe what was going on the sidelines. What were you guys saying to each other? Just tell us about that atmosphere, man.
Honestly, it was more of just snapping to get it. We don't really know what happened. Just everybody had that same mentality of we're done losing. We're done. We won the first 2 games, and then we were just feeding off of C.E. King. We can't let that bother us anymore. So we had to get it over with and just buckle down and do it.
Who inspires you, or who are some of your role models you look up to?
I guess 2 people too. A big one with this season and last season is with my coach Brock. A great guy, phenomenal man. He helps us out a lot on and off the field. And then my parents over there, they make sure everybody like got a hurt pinky or whatever. Maybe you're gonna go to the hospital. Make sure you're all right. But Coach Brock is a big inspiration. He does a great job.
You said your family's here tonight, right there next to you, right?
Yes,
Let's
sir.
give it up for the family. Thank y'all for being here tonight. Always good to have just great support, Ethan. And, speaking to that, and this community rallies behind the H, man. What does it mean to you to put on that Huntsville Hornet jersey?
A legacy. It's more of we still talk to some of the people that already graduated, and so we just compete, So we just like try to be better than the person that was in front of us, and tell them, "Hey, look at this, what we did, and what you didn't do." You know what I mean? We're just legacy and keeping it going down and down and down.
You know what you were talking about, which is impressive. You have your own business. You're a full-time student, full-time football player, and athlete, and you got your own business. So I know you don't have a whole lot of time outside of football and that, but what are some of your hobbies that when you do have the time, what do you enjoy doing outside of those things?
To be honest, I really enjoy building my business and my brand. And I don't know if I get in trouble, but I like to go out to party a little bit.
Well, I don't know. I guess we'll find out in the morning. Well, that's good. That's
well, there's your honest answer, Ethan.
And that's that.
Honesty is the best policy, right?
But I will say, in the time that I've known you, Ethan, before you answered that question, I knew that you were going to say building your business because you talk about it all the time, and I know that you're joking around and having fun. So you like to go out, and but the thing is, I know how committed you are to helping people, and it shows, man. So, senior this year, future plans. Where do you want to be? What do you see after high school, man?
My parents actually just helped me out. We signed up for some real estate classes. I'll start them in December. And so I'll graduate from that, and I'll still have, I think, 2 to 3 months in high school of being a real estate agent. So a shout out to my family for helping me do that. That's like been my goal since I worked at the Adam Olsen team. So it's a big deal.
That's
I'm really
awesome,
excited to do that.
Finally, camera's right there on you. Your family's all here. You got a lot of family here. There's other folks watching out there. It was pretty. About 700,000 or 800,000 people were watching there whenever you started, telling your story. Ethan, who do you want to send a shout out to tonight from Huntsville, man?
First things first, I want to shout out to my business. Yeah, if any of y'all want a car wash, just search it up on Facebook.
There you go.
Ethan, it's $25 every time you mention it on KSAM, by the way. So,
Big E's Mobile Car Washing. I'll give you the extra 25. But I really do want to give a shout out to these men here, Mr. Rob Hipp. He's a great, phenomenal man. My family, always helping us, taking me to practice, dropping me off, picking me up. I'm sure it's a lot. Take a lot out of the schedule. Coach Southern, he's hard on us, but he makes sure that we're all right at the end of the day. Pat on the back, make sure he wasn't too hard. Coach Brock, great guy. Coach Saint, our O-line coaches. And then I want everybody to come out to our game Friday. It's our last home game of the regular season. It's going to be a big deal. We're going to win that one too.
Ethan,
hopefully.
I'm glad you mentioned that. What, as a player, what does that mean to you when you look into the stands and you see a full crowd? How much does that mean to you, and what impact does that have on you guys?
I don't know. It's just like we got to go out there and prove ourselves over and over and over again, We came off of a high season last season, and we just got to go out there and do it again and show them that we're the new at Huntsville. Every year we are those people. You know what I mean? We don't skip a beat. We keep it 100%, 100% of the time. So we just gotta make sure everybody that was in the Huntsville Alumni stays proud of us.
Awesome. Let's give it up again, Ethan Casas. Good to have you here, young man.
Proud
of you guys, as all of you.
Very proud.
We'll step aside. We'll take a break. Our fourth and final segment coming up live from True Texas Barbecue. Stay with us. This is the Hornet Nation Coaches Show.
It's time to mind your business. I'm Audrey George, Business Account Specialist at Walker County Federal Credit Union, and we are excited to announce the launch of the business account. I'd like to invite you to call or come by our office on Normal Park Drive to find out more. For decades, Walker County Federal Credit Union has been devoted to our individual members and their service, and now we have expanded that to your business as well. Find out how easy it is to mind your business with Walker County Federal Credit Union, member NCUA.
Where's the cars?
Dale's Auto Sales has cars and trucks and SUVs and no credit check. Financing with approval. 50 years of car dealing here in Huntsville, Texas. You can trust Dale's Auto Sales for your next car, truck, or SUV. Go see the Dale's family on 11th Street under the big yellow sign. It's a better deal at Dale's.
All right, friends, welcome back as we wrap up our final segment here. Everybody having fun tonight. Thank y'all for coming out again. Appreciate it. Sam Moak could not be here tonight, and Sam said something. He said I can't be there tonight. The World Series was on, so I know a few folks are watching that. But again, Sam, we appreciate you. He messaged us early. That's one less entry in the box, Sam, by the way, for the football. Want to remind you, for those of you that are here tonight, maybe the first time, we have 3 limited edition footballs that we're giving away at the end of the season. So on some of the tables, you'll notice you can fill out your name and information, and at the end of the season, we're going to give away these special limited edition footballs. So they're pretty cool. So make sure you fill out your name. Every show that you come to, that's one additional entry that you'll have to win one of these 3 footballs, and the kids are signing them all. So it's a lot of fun. And never mind. I forgot. Brandy told me earlier. Brandy Mullins told me earlier, do not come because she has a lot of entries, and she says the less people, the better chances for her to win the football. So that's right, Brandy. She was joking though. And
no, she wasn't.
She was. Oh yeah. It is what it is. And also want to thank you. I know Sam's not here tonight, but he was giving us a shout earlier. We always like to acknowledge our sponsors. As always, Miss Stephanie Pitts is here from Advantage Specialties. Thank you, Stephanie, for your support. Mr. Stephen Kroll's in the house tonight. Thank you, Stephen, for coming out, and his son, JT, and the other students that are here. Thank you guys for being here. And I mentioned Billy Cawthorn earlier from our good friends at Sam Houston Memorial Funeral Home. Thank you, Billy, for being here tonight. We're joined now by our school board member, Mr. Ken Holland. Welcome, Ken. Good to have you, man.
Thanks for having me.
Ken has a business on the site. He goes, can I talk about my business? He was joking. I said, that's for the students only, Ken. So, because for you, it's $100 a mention. So, yeah, so it'll add up. I'm just kidding, Ken. Well, Ken, kind of tell us what's been going on with the schools. You've been heavily involved, been on the school board. It's really cool. You and I have gotten to know each other. In fact, years ago, I used to help your mom with her computer back in Georgetown. So it's kind of really cool how everything comes full circle. You mentioned your last name was Holland. You said, oh, my mom's in Georgetown. And then I said, well, man, I probably did computer work. And then I did. So, but it's just neat, getting to know you over the past few years because you're heavily involved. I see you at almost all the games, Ken. You're down on the field. You're talking to the kids. Just talk a little bit about your role with the school board and just how important this community is to you, man.
Well, it was an honor to be able to run for the school board 3 years ago and get elected and be a part of the positive movement with Dr. Shepard coming on just prior to that and the movement that we've been able to have. Obviously, leading up into preparing for a long-range plan, looking at the district, what the needs were, getting a bond proposal done. Then COVID hits, but we still pushed forward with that because the long-range planning team wanted to. And then we're able to get a package together. And then with everything that happened with the football stadium, identifying that need as well, and then also with bond rates that were really, really low, it was like we have to take advantage of that. And to be able to put that type of package out there, which was big and bold, but it was time. It was much needed, and it overwhelmingly passed. Both proposals did. So it's just exciting to see the community get behind that, a new baseball and softball complex, a new stadium built around Hornet Field, to have our own field finally. But not just athletics, everything that's going in with academics. Grade realignment is going to be huge for our district. We're going to touch every campus with expansion and priority upgrades. We're going to have a new fine arts facility at the high school. I mean, it's really, really excited. And I know people keep on asking, well, when's dirt going to get turned? And just be patient. We're working on the plans. We're going to hopefully approve some athletic facility plans in December and get started the first of the year. So some of that we'll get to actually see it happen. So it's just really exciting. And I think what's happened is when we talk about it at a school district level and even with Sam Houston, athletics opens the door for so much. And it isn't just about athletics. It is about the academics. But what happens with athletics and other extracurricular activities that kids get to be involved in, it's well-rounding. And so many people, on Friday nights, there's so many people involved at a football game. It's not just the football players. It's the band, cheerleaders, everybody that
And
gets
speaking
involved.
of our band, coming up, here to 9:30 or 8:30, they're competing for state tonight.
Absolutely.
So let's give it up for the band.
Yes, 9:15.
To 9:15 tonight. I was wanting to be down there. We had the show tonight, but again, that's just an incredible feat for the Hornet Military Marching Band. They did so well last year. They've done so well for so many years.
They have a long history of doing really well, and like for me, my girls play volleyball, so I have our road games are on Friday nights, and so having a Thursday night game last week, and now volleyball is winding up, but our volleyball team is in the thick of the playoffs. We've had a lot of our active sports teams being in the playoffs, and so that's just fun. It's fun to be a Hornet. It's just great to be a part of this community and a part of the district.
Ken, I don't think some people realize there were some times last year where I needed help, and I know that you don't like to be called out, but I'm going to call you out because you were a huge help. You stepped up and ran camera for me on a few games. So those few games where it was kind of messing up, that was Ken, but at least he helped. I'm just kidding. You did a great job, Ken.
There was a couple of those times I'm watching the game and I'm moving the camera, and then I left the camera in the spot and I moved, and I was like, oh no, I'd never done that before, so I apologize.
No, in all seriousness, you did great, man, and it was humbling. It was just incredible because you saw that I was struggling because I was kind of a one-man crew one night, and you said, hey, man, let me help you out. It wasn't, can I help you? It was, let me help you out. And I think that's the attitude that we need to have as we go forward in life. It's not that, can we help you out? We need to approach people every day and say, let me help you out. I think that so many people, they don't, if you say, can I help you? They're going to say, no, I've got it, I'm fine. But if you say, let me help you out, it's not asking, it's kind of telling, I'm going to help you out. And I think that's important as we go forward.
Well, and I think just jumping in, too. Sometimes don't even ask, just start helping. But, mentioning struggling, obviously the football team has had some losses, which has been very rare as of late. A lot of people get down really quick on teams. And, we don't need to do that. Things happen. There's bumps in the roads. Life lessons are being learned. Even as we speak, being at the game on Thursday night, that was the first district game that I've been able to go to. It was a lot of fun being there and watching the guys just give all they had. Even after those first 2 touchdowns, they were still up. They stayed in it. I mean, what better life lessons are those when you stick with it? And the back's up against the wall right now. Well, one game at a time. That's the way it is, right? So that's fun. We need to support the Hornets. Come out on Friday night and let's get after it and get another win.
A couple of things. One, when Ethan was up here a while ago and Rob asked him what it meant to be a Hornet, one of the things he said was legacy. And, my history and everybody that I know that was a Hornet, the same with these guys. It doesn't matter who they're fixing to be in the fight with, they're going to win. It doesn't matter. And when they got down those 2 touchdowns, they came together as a team. Not individuals, but as a team, and pulled off just an amazing win. Mm-hmm. And that's Huntsville Hornets.
Right.
And the other thing I want to say, just kind of on a different topic, is I appreciate everything you've done to help this community, help get the word out, the bond that passed, and what a historic opportunity and thing to happen for this town. As you said, it was needed. It's been needed for a very long time, and not just a nice football stadium. I mean, academically, all the schools get an upgrade. Everybody's getting a piece of this historic bond that passed, and thank you for helping the cause.
Yeah, appreciate it, Ken. Thank you, man. And speaking of the athletic side, because that is, I hear that a lot. If you don't pass, you don't play. Mm-hmm. So academics propels students that want to be an academic. You got to pass to play. You can't fail and not be in academics, and that's a huge thing.
And the thing that is shown through data is that kids that are involved in extracurricular activity, not just sports, but anything, whether it's band, choir, theater, whatever it is, CTE programs, they're going to be more involved in into the academic side as well. Because one, they have to, no pass, no play, but it's not just that. It's not the do this or else. It's what is getting built into the whole person by being involved in those programs. And that helps a student do better in school. And there's just no doubt about that. So I firmly believe that. So I value all the things that we get to do. And what's nice about Huntsville, I mean, you know, we have a lot of programs. Our CTE programs, we provide most every CTE program that's available. Some districts only provide just a small sliver of it, and we have a lot of that. And then all the sports that we get, you know, have and fine arts and things of that nature. There's a lot of stuff to do, so I encourage our kids to get involved in those things.
Awesome. Well, Ken, as always, we appreciate you. And, of course, you'll see Ken around town. You'll see him at the football games. You'll see him at baseball games, basketball games. And then if you turn on Sam Houston ESPN+, you'll see Ken there doing a little analysis sometimes. And I know that's been a pretty cool opportunity for you, man.
Well, this is green and white, so I'll save orange and white for later.
Yeah, all right. Well, Ken, again, appreciate you tonight and everyone for coming out. And also wanted to say a special shout-out to my beautiful fiance. Our little baby will be here in about a month. But tonight is her birthday, so I wanted to say happy birthday, sweetheart. Love you.
Happy birthday, Bridget.
I wanted to make sure I said that because she allowed me to be here tonight on her birthday night. So we appreciate you. As always, everybody, thank you for coming out. Again, I believe 7:30 kickoff. It's one of the few games. It's a 7:30 kickoff. 7 o'clock pregame. We'll have it on KSAM 1017. And also, of course, you can watch the game at ksam1017.com. Brian and I will go on at 7 o'clock. And we'll be here at home, at Bowers. Come out, wear green and white, and let's support these Huntsville Hornets. As always, appreciate everybody who's made it out here tonight. One more final round of applause for our friends at True Texas Barbecue.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vivi and her staff. And 2 more shows. And then postseason, and we'll keep going as long as the Hornets keep going. So if you're hearing my voice tonight or seeing us here tonight through the stream, make sure that you come out. True Texas Barbecue, let's pack the house on these next 2 games right here, Wednesdays at 6:30 p.m. Come out and you can win one of these great footballs as well. Friends, as I end every broadcast, I want to remind you tonight that we're not strong enough alone to make it on our own. We need each other, friends. Provide a word of encouragement, lend a hand of support. Somebody out there tonight needs you. And on the count of 3, let's say Sting 'em Hornets as we send them off tonight. 1, 2, 3.
Sting 'em Hornets!
Good night, and God bless Huntsville.